Well, hello everyone. Here to talk about right here for Absence Day, and how many of us have heard that day, which you call for Absence Day? It's basically a day to where that if we're talking about that, if you had to be absent, from school or maybe from work, just to be able to get well. Maybe if you're dealing with maybe a bad sinus flu, or maybe if it's maybe after surgery or something like that. So I worked a sketch, a few weeks ago, but I thought maybe everybody here would like to see it because, putting this together, and how many of us really have experienced that to where that they had to miss about maybe 2 or 3 days of school or maybe of work or something, just because that you weren't feeling very well. But let's just say the situation goes by as to where that your class offered to come to your house, come into your room just to be able to talk about an assignment. And so yeah, that something like that I've seen on those TV shows like the Magic School Bus and other programs, other TV shows that came on back in the early back in 1900. I'm like, yeah, the Magical School Bus and other like Author, the cartoon Author or something like that, some show like that. But we're talking about the Absence Day. That how many of us really have experience to where that we're going to have our class coming to our house and going into our bedrooms, and then they're going to go ahead and maybe spend about maybe 10 or 15 minutes in the bedroom and talk to you about what they're doing in class. And how many schools nowadays that do that, to where that they make a field trip to a student's house and to go into their bedrooms and look at their stuff, and let's just say that if there was if the class contained about maybe 12 or maybe 13 students, and just saying as to where that the students are just going to be kind of getting a good idea about hey, yeah, you got a computer, yeah, you got a big screen TV, so yeah, that a few of your classmates and you may be friends with about 4 or 5 of them, and I know that most of us back when we were growing up, that we can remember that, especially on our birthdays or maybe on the weekends, that we're going to have about maybe 3 of our classmates that come over to our houses. And let's just say that, maybe if you bake cupcakes or bake cookies or something like that, have like a little special event with your classmates. And so just to say is to where that it's not very fun being sick. And so I know that if you're going to be on absence, maybe because that you're sick with the flu, or maybe that anything, it could be something contagious also. It could be something contagious. But you have right here this example right here of a teacher, and with this teacher right here, that she would be to say this to where that, yeah, that how many of us really have experienced that to where that why do you think that your teacher will be coming into your bedroom and just to talk to you about, what the class has been working on? And yeah, those kids, we're missing you for being in class, and so, to be able to miss you. And then I say, yeah, that how many of us really think is toward how embarrassing that is, really, to have your class in your bedroom and they start talking about, yeah, well, it's good to see you again. Like, well, we don't mean that, until you get well, that you'll come back to class, and, we would like to, look forward to seeing you again in class. And I know, any students who maybe think that, the longest period of time that they've been out of class, maybe if it was, pneumonia, or if it was maybe the flu, or maybe if it was, maybe chicken pox. I'm like, how many of us back when we were young that you say that if you got into chicken pox, and then you were out of school for about maybe 4 or 5 days at the most, close to a week, battling chicken pox, or if it's a if it's fever or anything like that, if you're out sick, and then the class is has offered to come over to your house and go into the bedroom and just to kind of see how you're doing, but then they're going to want to also talk to you about what they're doing there in class. And let's just say if the whole class, about maybe 12 or 13 students, were coming into your bedroom and they want to check up, and then yeah, that they're going to want to say that Exactly, that whenever you have a few of your classmates that are going to be in your bedroom, and maybe that they're going to like think as to where they're going to find something neat, that they like about what you have and maybe want to talk about. But I included this right here, this example right here of this box right here. I guess you say it's like a leather case box right here. And let's just say that I painted it in different colors on the inside right here. I'm like, the outside and the inside right here. So let's just say this was an example right here of maybe something that a student, an absent student, was working on something based on their research. Maybe from the library, or maybe it could be something related to a science project or something like that. So as to say that, that's something that's interesting to the students, and so. It's like, that, well, while, and they're going to maybe ask as to where that, while you were in bed, trying to, they say that, well, a lot of things that's going on, but the first thing you're going to maybe ask is to where that, I don't think you really want to see me like this. I got a fever, and, I'm not feeling very well, and, so, that, that, whenever you're going to be, it's not fun, being sick in bed, trying to get over, a certain flu virus, and you're also warned too as to where that there was a time to where maybe a few of the school kids that did come visit you in your bedroom, and they'll likely say is that, whenever you were in school, that you talked to them about that you got a computer at home, you got a home computer and home TV where you can use to do your studies and to get ready for the test. But how many of us are going to maybe warn toward the teacher, though? Like say that, okay, Mr. or Miss, exactly, that, they kind of give you that look. It's like to where, if you're going to fail me just because I'm not in class, and you can go and fail me now. And so how many of us are going to maybe say is that, if that's going to be maybe the first question that maybe you're going to ask as to where, that, or if you're going to go ahead and fail me just because I'm not in school, then go ahead and fail me now. But I just, some of those teachers that might even say that, those kids are missing you in class until you get feeling better, that, that the teacher may hand you something that, ask you to go ahead and work on, but talk about for absence day. If you're going to be absent, then usually hear about that is to where that you're going to be out of school for about maybe 3 or 4 days. If it's battling the flu, or maybe if it is the chicken pox. But still, though, that talk about, say, with the teacher, though, that how many of us have heard that to where that you're going to have the teacher that's going to come visit you at home and go into your own bedroom, and then they're going to want to say a few words such as the class has been missing you, or here's some of your schoolwork. You can go and work at home. They're going to go and bring you some schoolwork to do whenever you're able to do it. Whenever you're able to, you wake up and then be able to, if you up to it while you're recovering, while you're getting well, that here's some of your schoolwork right here. So how many of us have thought of that to where that any embarrassing moments? And so if you're going to have about maybe 3 or 4 of your classmates going to making a visit there at your house, and the first thing you're going to wonder is to where, now I don't want you all looking at me like this, like this right here, will be an example right here of me right here, but let's just say that if I was in bed right here, and let's just say that if I was sick with maybe with the flu or something like that, if I was sick with the flu, then if I, was running maybe a fever a couple of times, and, exactly. How many of us have felt pretty miserable that, if you wind up puking a couple, if you want to call it like throwing up, I'm like, and I know that sometimes that happens to where that, for what you eat, that if you're, I'm like, usually it's soup, though, it's usually well. That's usually for like if anybody say that something that settles in your stomach, but while you're sick, though, if you're sick with the flu, that sometimes, though, that if anybody warns is that if we're going to be in bed, trying to get over with the flu, get over the virus that you got, and like I say that if you've been in bed, and maybe if you've been if you had a fever and you're trying to get well, and then you're going to have your teacher and maybe about 4 or 5 of your classmates are going to come visit you, and you're likely wondering to her that you're not really on a date or nothing like that, or if it's anything prom event. But, the whole class wanted to come by and see you and see how you were doing. And just to say that we've been missing you in class and here's some of the work to try to catch up on. So it's like, but let's just say if the situation goes by is to where that, while some of your classmates are in your bedroom while you're laying in your bed, that they're going to maybe come across maybe one of the bags or maybe the boxes that you were working on, maybe based on research, and maybe look at your computer. So that you're likely wondering to where that the first thing that you're going to maybe ask is to where that am I being graded for this or not? Yeah, are you being graded for what? Am I being graded for showing everybody what I have here at home, what I'm doing in school? Am I being graded for, keeping my classmates, that showing them everything that I have and what we can use, maybe just to be able to complete an assignment. So that for what we call homework. But what we call that type of homework to where that if we're going to be at home, maybe on absence, if we're going to be, home, if we're going to be, getting care at school, getting care at home, if we're going to be getting nursing care at home, and then find out that, the students, those kids decide to come to, come to my house, and then they're going to be looking at the computer and then maybe the TV, and they're going to wonder to where that, we've all heard that before about show and tell, right? But, how many of us have heard that before to where, show and say? Show and say, show and say. Anybody who comes into your bedroom, you can show and say what you got. Show and say, show and explain a little bit about what's this, what's it for, you got it in your bedroom. Most of us have had our experiences to where that, if you're going to have anything in your bedroom, maybe a lava lamp, or maybe a television set, or maybe a closet full of goodies, and, so whenever you're at home doing your homework, that you're going to maybe have some of your classmates over, and they're going to say, show and say what we see right here. So and how many of us can maybe agree that, that seems kind of odd to have the teacher in your bedroom, because really, it's never really happened. I'm like, I seen it on those TV, on those TV shows, but I have not really seen it in real life to where, the teachers though, but I don't even know if they're even allowed to visit the students' home address, but let's just say if they did, you'll come by, and you're wondering too that, it just say about us to where the first thing that they're going to assume, the first thing that Mr. or Miss, or what they're going to say whenever that they're going to come over to the home address and visit that person there in his bedroom, in his or her bedroom, if they're out absent, from school, is to where are they going to say, oh, you failed. Well, you didn't, you didn't pass, or something like that, or there's your grade. You didn't do very well on the spelling test, or you didn't do well on the math test. So it seems like the first thing that you're going to maybe ask the teacher is to where, if you're going to go ahead and fail me, go ahead and fail me now. And but still, that the teacher may say, no, I'm not here to fail you. I'm actually here to go over a review about see how you're doing, and I want to give you some of the work that what the students have been working on in class. So I know that if anybody say that, what do the ladies, the lady teachers, you say, no, I'm not here to fail you. I'm here to let you know that the kids have been missing you, and they tell you that I hope you get well. And here is some of the study notes here. So that I know back those couple years ago that I remember that if you're going to be absent from school for about 4 or 5 days, and then they're going to maybe think as to where that the parents, the mom or dad's going to maybe pick up some of your schoolwork from the school, and then bring it home so that way you can work on your schoolwork. But sometimes it seems like that, if you're going to have about maybe 4 or 5 classmates, and they're going to go into your room, and then they're going to see a box of stuff that they find very interesting, and maybe if they see a computer, I'm like, yeah, this computer drawing right here, I'm sure most of us know that's like one of the old Mac, I guess if you want to call it the Macintosh, IBM Macintosh, old style, type computer. But, I know with me, though, I got the newer type computer. But this right here will be example right here of a computer. So if anybody will warrant to where that if you're going to have a surprising visit from your class that comes over to your house and goes into your bedroom, and, like I say that, oh, this is your bedroom? This is neat that you got this, yeah, well, your kid, do you have the internet on that, or, yeah, do you got any games on there that we can play? So, yeah, whenever you get any visits from your classmates, it's possible that they're going to see something in your bedroom that's going to interest them, maybe Lincoln Logs or maybe Legos or something like that, but the teacher may say that, no, come on, guys, come on, class, that we're not here to play with his toys, and we're not here to play with the toys, and we're not here to get into the stuff. We're here to visit him because he's not feeling very well. And it could be a her, too. I'm like, yeah. No matter if it's a female, male or female, boy or girl, that what we call absence day is to where that, but if anybody say, if you can make one visit to the student's, home, am I going to their bedroom and then you see that they have their own video games, or they're going to have their own library. I'm like, yeah, they're going to have maybe a few children's books that a few children's books, a few books that maybe they haven't seen in a long time. The students haven't seen in a long time, and the teacher's going to maybe say that some of the good books that. Yeah, I might say, yeah, well, mister, you can find those at the library, can't you? Like, oh, you can, but it's been a while since I've seen these kinds. So, yeah, whenever you're going to have home visits, especially on absence day, if you're going to have home visits coming to your address, going into your bedroom, then it's possible that you're going to have some of the students there that are going to maybe say that they're going to want to ask if they can, yeah, if they can play a game, or maybe if they can read you a story or something like that. And how many of them are say that, yeah, I would like to read him a story. Yeah, well, I thought you may have read that book already. Well, if I have, I didn't read the whole chapter, or if, so yeah, they might tell you something like that. The kids may tell you something like that. Want to read you a story just to say a good get well, talk boys like wish you good, get well soon. So yeah, that if there is such thing as what we call absence day. Absence day does not always mean that you're not going to be there, does it? It basically means is to where that the teacher and then maybe I'm like, I don't know about the principal, but it's going to be the teacher and the class. They offer to make the time to come out and visit the student, while they're getting well, that they're going to explain to them about what we've been talking about here in class, and this is the work that everybody's doing, and get well soon. And so yeah, that and I don't even know if very many schools do that, absence day. I'm like, if anybody say that show and say, I'm like, if we've heard that before about show and say, that does that always have to take place in the bedroom? Yeah, in the bedroom, that show and say, that you're supposed to explain to the class what you have there. If you got your own computer, and if you got your own storybooks, if you got your own storybooks, if you want to talk a little bit about them to the class. So how many of us have been there to where that you thought about that, to where in case of maybe if some of the kids want to come over to your house and go into your bedroom, and they're going to want to play a game with you, or maybe if they're going to want to maybe talk about a science, or read you a story, and you're likely worried to where that, how embarrassing kind of is that, especially that if you're trying to get well, trying to get over the flu, and then you're going to have about 4 or 5 of your classmates that are going to kind of come over and see how you're doing, and you're like, yeah, the source of attention that you can get, huh? But still, though, that, like with anybody that may warrant to where that, I didn't really show everybody. Yeah, this is the lamp right here, the telephone and the lamp. So yeah, how many students would walk over to the other side of the bed, to the, I guess you say if it would be the right side of the bed, they would walk over to the right side of the bed and see that you got a telephone and you got a lamp right there that you can turn the lights on and off, and if you got a night light. But still though, yeah, does that phone work? So yeah, you're gonna, some of your classmates in class, that while you're in bed, trying to get well from the flu, that you're gonna have some of the classmates that are gonna see that, oh, you got a phone, you got your own phone, or you got a television set, you even got a few puzzles. So yeah, some of your classmates that might ask you if they can look at a puzzle. So while they're visiting you, while you're in bed trying to get over the flu, that you're going to have about maybe 3 or 4 of the classmates that are going to come over. But still, that if anybody says that really that unless if you're in the 4th and 5th grade, I don't know what the schools do nowadays, that absence days, to where that if you can get graded by playing with other people's things, then really, what source of educational reason is that? So that might be something that maybe the principal may ask, as to where that, what do you call that, to be playing with other people's things? Especially, that maybe crayons and pencils, that's something that maybe the school could use. But if we're talking about puzzles and maybe, comic, storybooks or anything like that, really, that, if it's not here at the school, then maybe you should not be using it or playing with it. But still, how many of us, and we can maybe raise our hands too, I'm like, how many of us can maybe admit to where that, you're going to go ahead and bring something home, bring something from home to school and show somebody something, and you say that, you think that you're going to get graded for that just because you brought it from home? I'm like, yeah, what do you think that you would be able to bring from home that the school could use? A ruler. I'm like, a ruler and maybe a magnifying glass. I got a real nice looking, I got a real cool looking ruler at home I can bring, and as well as maybe a calculator. And so yeah, there might be some things at home that you would maybe like to bring to class with you. So I just think as to where that, something that you were talking to the students about, and then it's like, you tell them that, you got a computer, and so yeah, just to join the conversation, just to join the team, that you're going to talk about something like that. You got your own computer, or I got my own ruler. I got my own calculator. Well, so do I. I'm like, well, what about it? So we've come to those situations to where you want to make friends, and then you bring up something, and sometimes it seems like, well, what about it? Or, I really don't care about that. Or, oh, that's neat. What kind of calculator? Yeah, telescope. And how many of us can maybe raise our hands and say that, you tell everybody at the school that you got a telescope, a cool looking telescope, and then for a science project that, on absence day, that they're going to come over and say that, okay, where's that telescope that you were telling us about? Oh, microscope? No, the telescope. Do you have a microscope too? Actually, I was thinking about getting a microscope, but yeah, the telescope. So yeah, that, how many of us could maybe say is to where, what do you call that, to where that, the classroom is there in your own bedroom. So yeah, there's like absence day to where that, any source of attention like that. If it's a doctor's note, maybe a letter from the nurse, and you're likely wondering to where that, really, can you really be working on your schoolwork while you're in bed? Because, if the doctor's order is going to, as you say, is that you got to take your medicine and you got to get plenty of rest, while you're trying to get over, what you're sick with. And as I say, if you can't go, you can get in and out of the bed, maybe to eat or maybe use the bathroom or something, but, to get out of, just to change clothes or something, but still that, maybe not everybody is going to be in what you call, the good looking condition to where whenever you're sick that, that don't, you don't want to look like that, especially on picture day. Yeah, I'm sure most of us can remember picture day, can't we? Yeah, you don't want to be absent on picture day, but still, that really, that I'm sure none of us really want to go there, especially if it talks about this to where that students nowadays that they're able to have their picture taken, while they're at home, and just sake is to where. Yeah, that after a student is able to succeed to the next grade, that they're gonna whenever picture day comes up, and they're gonna want to dress nice and look nice for picture day, and so it's kind of hard to do all that whenever you're sick, but sometimes something comes up to where if you get a head cold or maybe if it's something else like the flu, then you had to miss about 3 or 4 days of class, and the teacher's going to say, you know what, kids, let's go over there and visit him, okay? So yeah, field trips, but still, that there is something about what's in that box that interests the class. And so I included this box right here, and on the inside, I could have included maybe a picture of maybe something like maybe a telescope or a little mini microscope or something like that, something for science class. But really, I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this drawing here, but just to show is to where that something in that box that interests quite a few of the classmates. And so it's like, yeah, that how many of us have experienced that to where if you're going to have visitors and, if you're going to have company over, and sometimes if it's a surprise, sometimes it's a last minute surprise, and they want to talk to you about how well you're doing, and they're going to maybe see a puzzle in your bedroom that they want to look at. And so, yeah, they're going to say, can I look at your puzzle? Or, yeah, can I look at your lamp? Yeah, you got a phone, and yeah, can I look at your TV? Can we watch TV for a little bit? So yeah, they're going to ask you questions like that, and I know that especially in the doctor's offices, that really that any source of attention that somebody can give you, and like we wanted to, or that what's one part of the grade book that you're never going to forget, huh? About is to return in your assignment work early, or maybe a surprising visit, like during the time that you were in school, that you've had one time to where that the teacher offered to call you from home, talk to the parents. They even offered to give you a book to read, and there was a test coming up on Friday, but this is what you need to do now. So yeah, that they'll even offer to allow you to take the test at home and then bring it back into the school. So how many of us can maybe say that you had that ability to where that while you were absent, and then for what the teachers had to offer, huh? But other than that, talk about for absence day, that really, is it okay to be a little bit embarrassed about what's going on because you were not expecting the class to be visiting there in your bedroom, or something like that, and it was not in my bedroom, but I know once or twice if it was like maybe a farewell, like, yeah, whenever I was transferring to another school, that I remember that the whole class, like especially during recess, that coming back in from recess, and or if it was maybe for an assembly or something like that, that it was like that the lights would be off in the classroom, and then the lights would come on. I remember that. Yeah, that some of the classmates asked me if I would, do you need to use the restroom, man? So yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago, but I can remember that in order to be able to say farewell to me. I know whenever I was going to be transferring to another school, that was back in the day, but whenever I was going to be transferring to another school, I can remember the whole class, wanted to do something special for me. So, whenever we were out on the playground and then coming back into the school, that I can remember that the kids asked me if I need to use the restroom. When we came back from the restroom, then I can remember that the classroom lights were out. And I can remember as soon as I walked in that the lights came on, and that all the kids in the classroom were like, "We're going to miss you." I'm like, "Yeah, it's that they were singing something like it's good, nice knowing you," or something like that. Yeah, I even have some of those greeting cards too, but the whole class would make a card for me, and they would say that sad to see you leave. I'm like, yeah, so I was going to be, that was around April or something like that. I think it was back in I think it was 1994 or something like that, whenever that was going on. But anyway, if it's a transfer or if you had to be absent from school for any reason at all, that, the class and the teachers will be nice and sweet to you. But still, though, that it seems like a lot of times that what we experience most of the time whenever we're going to be working a job or in class, that maybe a few things that you just don't expect. And just think as to where that, really, how is it called a surprise if you already know about it, huh? And I say, well, maybe I didn't know about it. I didn't know that I was going to get sick either, and I didn't know that I was not going to do very well on a test. But another thing also to remember, too, is to know about those who care about you and knowing that you can do well. But anyway, just try your hardest and continue to do well. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.